All right, in my last video, we went over an overview of the real number system. And today, I just want to give you some examples in this short video. So let's say we can see here the chart that I had in my last video that describes the categories in the real number system. Well, let's look at some examples of some numbers and see if we can where we can categorize them. Okay, so right here we have the number 0, okay? So if we go back to our categories, let's see what categories the number 0 fits within. So we'll start with natural numbers in the smallest box. Natural numbers are all positive numbers, so 0 is not included in a natural number. Whole numbers includes 0, so do integers. And can you write 0 as a fraction? Technically, 0 over 0 is 0. So yes, you can write it. That means it's a rational number if you can write it as a fraction. So you can see that it fits all three of these categories: whole numbers, integers, and rational numbers. As far as irrational numbers goes, irrational numbers are just decimals that go on forever with no pattern. Well, 0 is not a decimal, so it's not an irrational number. And so let's go back and write in, okay, for 0, it is considered a whole number. It is considered an integer and a rational number. Okay? All right, the next one is -3. So let's go back to our chart, -3, and we'll start with the smallest box again. Is it a natural number? No, because natural numbers are all positive. So -3 is negative. Is it a whole number? No, because whole numbers have to be 0 or positive numbers as well. Integer, yes, it is an integer because integers can be positive numbers, 0 or negative numbers. And is it a rational number? Well, can we write it -3 as a fraction? The answer is yes, -3 over 1. Okay, and if it's a rational number or in any of these boxes, then it's not an irrational number. Okay, so let's go back to -3 and we can write in, okay, it's an integer and it is also a rational number. So then we got -4.9. Okay, so this time it's a negative number, but it's a decimal. Okay, well, that might change things. So is it an integer? We know it's not a natural number or a whole number because it's negative. Is it an integer? Well, integers cannot be decimals, so it's not an integer even though it's a negative number. Can you write -4.9 as a fraction? And the answer is yes. You can make any number a fraction, just put it over 1. So it is a rational number, and therefore it's not an irrational number. And that's the only category it fits, is a rational number. So we're going to go back and just write in for -4.9 is the only category it fits is rational number in the real number system. Okay, 1/4. 1/4 is a fraction, so it cannot be a natural number. It cannot be a whole number. It cannot be an integer because it's a fraction. But it can be it is a rational number because you can write it as a fraction because it is a fraction. Therefore, it's not an irrational number if it's rational. Okay, so we'll go back and we will, just for 1/4, the only category that one fits as well is rational number. Okay, so a few more examples. What if we have the last 3 examples here? The first one, 0.7 repeating. So when you have a repeating decimal, first off, we know immediately if it's a decimal, it can't be a natural number, a whole number, or an integer. Can a repeating decimal, though, be a rational number? In other words, can you write a repeating decimal as a fraction? And yes, there is a way to do that. And so therefore, it is a rational number. Now, we're not going to go into depth on how to write a repeating decimal as a fraction, but you can do it. And so just know repeating decimals are rational numbers. So we're going to erase that and then go back. And this 0.7 77777 repeating is considered a rational number only in that real number system. Okay, 697. Okay, that's the largest number we've had. And if we go back to our categories, is it a natural number? Yeah, it's a positive number. It's not a decimal, so it is a natural number. Is it a whole number? Yeah, it is. It doesn't have a decimal, and it's a positive number. An integer? Yep, because integers include positive numbers. Rational number? Yes, because you can write the number over 1 and make it a fraction. So it includes all 4 of those categories. So we're going to write in here natural. We're going to write in here whole. We're going to write in here rational. And then, what did I miss? Oh, integer. Integer as well. Okay, so the last one is the square root of 3. So the square root of 3, if we go back, let's look at our categories. The square root of 3, well, what is the square root of 3? We can actually get a number that represents the square root of 3. And I actually typed it in my calculator, and I got the square root of 3 is the same as 1.73205008, and it just keeps going with random numbers forever. So it's a decimal that goes forever with random numbers, no pattern. Okay, that is the only category that can fit is an irrational number. So there we go. There's some examples on how to categorize numbers in the real number system. And there we go.